to Filthy Casual's Toronto Raptors video. Now, if you notice, I'm a little bit sick. I've got a cold, my throat hurts, I'm congested, it sucks. So, sorry about that, but I'm still making the video. So, enjoy it and leave a like and comment for the algorithm. Do it for the boys. All right. So, the Toronto Raptors, arguably the most talented team in their conference. I genuinely, like, top to bottom, like, I genuinely feel like that. They have a ton of players on this roster that can just do so much for you. OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, freaking Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet. I mean, like, I could go on. Well, really, that's pretty much it, actually, honestly. Like, they've got some other good, solid players. They've got Otto Porter Jr. now. They've got Thad Young. They've got Precious Achiuwa, who looked good and then didn't. So I'm not super sure about that. Chris Boucher has been kind of, on the fringes of the league, but I feel like he's consistently been giving people solid production. Although he's under contract for, I think, $13-ish million a year. I think he got it either last year or the year before. But yeah, so they have players who are very, very solid, especially their starting lineup, which is, looks like Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Pascal Siakam, where they were running Pascal as a 5, which is kind of wild, but they kind of are lacking super solid centers, right? Like Precious and Chris Boucher and Thad Young are all like solid, but none of them are what I would consider starting quality centers in the NBA. And I think that's probably where this team could look to improve. Now, they're probably going to have to make a choice between OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes. They're probably going to go with Scotty Barnes, but OG Anunoby is an extremely good player. The one thing about the Raptors that is curious is that we all know that they made that big Kawhi move that ended in a title for their team. So everybody's kind of been like, oh, they're willing to make the big move. But I think at this point, they're kind of very much still in that assessing kind of phase of which direction they want to go, where they're extremely talented. They have a lot of really good young players. Or I guess Pascal Siakam's not super young anymore. He's what, 28? He'll be 29 in April, so he'll be turning 29 this season. So Pascal's in his prime, but you've got loads of young players. Like, I think Gary Trent is like low-key underrated. I loved him on the Blazers, and when he got traded to the Raptors for Norm Powell, I was like, this is a steal for the Raptors. Like, they got the better player. Like, Norm Powell was solid, but Gary Trent is better. And he tries super hard on defense. He's a dog. He's a really good shooter. He's a super good spark plug, and he just brings the energy that you want on your team. This team is unfortunately put in the position where the league is really good right now, and they need to figure out how they're going to get better when, honestly, I don't really necessarily know how they're going to get much better outside of Scotty Barnes being the person that you hope he can be and what everybody thinks he can be from his rookie season. Because, if you recall, Scotty Barnes was a reach pick the previous when he got drafted. Like, I think it was Jalen Suggs that was supposed to get picked at that spot, and everybody was like, whoa, Suggs fell to 5th. The Magic got a steal, and then Suggs sucked it up last season. Like, he was not good. Everybody thought he was going to be NBA ready, and Scotty Barnes won Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, they clearly backed the right horse on that one, right? So, for this team's best case scenario, I really don't necessarily know if I even see them making the playoffs, and which is weird because, and I mean by making the playoffs, I mean a top 6 seed. They're definitely a play-in team. I think, unless the Miami Heat somehow fall off a cliff, I don't see them being better than the Celtics, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Nets, or the Hawks. Maybe the Nets, because the Nets might not even be a team. So the Hawks and then the Cavs. So if you take out the Nets, that's 5, and if you add the Heat, that's 6. So basically they're kind of teetering in that 8, 9, 7 range, which is kind of wild because they have Pascal Siakam, who's been an All-NBA player twice now. They have Fred VanVleet, who's been an All-Star. They've got, really talented players. And OG Anunoby, I think, maybe in a right year for him, in the right situation, he could be an all-star. I think it won't happen for him on this team. I think there's too many other players that either take shots or take credit. But, I mean, not that I think OG should be gunning for all-stars. I think his ideal role is kind of like either like a third piece for a team or a fourth piece for a team. It wouldn't surprise me if a team tried to make a trade for OG Anunoby in the mid-season deadline. I think he's probably the one piece you could pry away from them if you manage to give them the right offer. I don't quite know what that would look like at this point. I might do a video on it another time when I thought it over a bit more, but I think he is their odd man out for this squad, which is kind of weird to say because I feel like this Raptors team is, really, really talented and has a lot of really solid pieces. It's just they need to fill some holes on their roster, and I think what OG Anunoby does overlaps a lot with what Scotty Barnes can do for you. So if you're really high on Scotty Barnes, you're kind of looking at OG Anunoby like, well, maybe like OG's really good. Maybe we could get something for him. I don't see them being better than a 6 seed. Honestly, I don't think that they've got that this year. Next year, watch out. I don't necessarily know if some of those teams above them are going to be that good next year. I think the 76ers are going to be a 1 seed this upcoming season or a 2 seed. And I don't necessarily know if they'll be in that conversation next year, the year after. This team could fall apart quick. Same thing with the Nets. Same thing with the Hawks, like DeJounte Murray's only under contract for 2 years, and then he's got a player option. Like these teams can fall apart fast. So, and I think the Raptors are built for the long term. So that's as far as their best. As far as their worst case scenario, I don't see them being out of the plan. I think this team is super solid. So room service. That was nice of my dad. All right, well, thank you so much for watching the video. I will probably edit this just because I'm sure it'll be super boring otherwise. So thank you for watching the Orlando Magic video, and check out my Boston Celtics and Bucks video because nobody seems to really be clicking on it, and I think I did a really good job, and I would like people to see it. So enjoy that, have a wonderful day, and enjoy your life.